Alright everybody, welcome back to the video. Today is going to be something a little bit different, and I know I say that a lot, but it is very different. Quick heads up on what's been happening, why I haven't been uploading. I've been at a regionals last week. I actually did, I got 3 wins, 3 losses, so smack dab in the middle. I would have gotten 4 wins, 2 losses, assuming all the rest of my matches went well. Yeah, Pranesh, dude, I really do want to rematch against you, dude, because that match I could have definitely taken that match, but it is what it is. Next time we duel, I am 100% winning, but that was still a fun match anyway. But yeah, so yeah, came out of regionals. I was playing a Yugioh Synchron deck. For you guys who don't know what the deck profile is, please join that Discord. I've posted it up there. The guys on the Discord already know what the deck profile is. But when I did, which is why I'm making this video, is one or two of the guys were like, "Hey, that's a really cool deck profile. It's sick, but some of us don't have the money for a Kashtira engine, and some of us cannot afford a Baron," which is fair, right? Because Baron is still expensive. I keep mixing up the name. I always keep thinking it's Amazing Defenders, but Secrets of Memories or something like that. But Baron is getting reprinted, so just hold on just a little bit longer. You will get your Baron, and it's a secret, I think. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see what Konami does. It made me think a little, because they are right. If you can't afford a Kashtira engine, and like what do you play at this point? Because I mean, the bestial Kashtira, the bestial Synchron route only shines if it's like when Tearlament was in its prime, right? Because the whole point was to stop graveyard fusion, right? So just bestial, and it was strong. Now that's not as prevalent, because now the best deck is Kashtira, and there's a lot of banishing action happening, and Tearlament is going to really struggle. The only other decks bestials might shine against is against the Branded Despair deck, and then any deck that like relies heavily on the graveyard, that's light and dark. So that's the only time the bestials will shine, which it's not as good anymore. So that leaves the question, what do you play, right? So my mind ran across some of the decks that don't utilize the extra deck, because I was trying to create like hybrid decks, right? So my first thought was Flu, because it's a meta deck. Well, X, I don't know where it is at this point without the Wind Barrier statue. I thought maybe if you use Synchron with the Flu engine, but the problem there is it locks you out of special summoning, which is not that great. Then I went into Monarchs, and I thought about Monarchs, and I was like, it's okay, I guess, but no. Then I came across Eldlich, because I'm like, hang on, Eldlich does have a fusion extra deck monster, but apart from that, they don't really utilize the extra deck, and it's a back row heavy deck, right? So there might be some synergy there. And then I looked it up online, and I'm like, hang on, there are videos of this, and it's actually quite cracked. The versatility of this deck is so good, because firstly, your opponent won't know what you're playing, because it's obscure. Like, you'll start off with a Eldlich engine, your opponent think, oh, back row deck, Eldlich, we know what Eldlich does, and then you'll start off with a Synchron engine, and like, oh, what is this? And then they'll sometimes hand trap the Eldlich engine, and then your Synchron engine becomes live, or vice versa. They'll hand trap your Synchron engine, your Eldlich engine becomes live. So you see how you can flip between the two, and it's so cool. There are times when you will brick. It's not as consistent as our usual builds, but it's for what it's capable of, it's not bad. So what you're seeing on screen is the deck profile. So for the Eldritch engine, you are just going to play 3 of Eldland, Sanguine, Conquistador, Hakuero, and 2 Eldritch. Now the thing is, the most expensive part of this deck is the Magician Souls and the Illusion of Chaos. They're skyrocketing in price. This is supposed to be kind of budget, but still impactful. So you can sort of remove these 3 for Jester, because the whole reason why we play Magician Souls is so that you want to try and force a hand trap. You want to force an interaction your opponent has. So you'll go Magician Souls and hand sending Illusion of Chaos to graveyard, and then attempt to special, or they'll do something, they'll ash, they'll do something, they'll use a negate. That's the point of Magician Souls. And then obviously that plus a Stardust is a speeder. So Jester works just the same, but it can't bait the hand trap, because it's just a special summon, it's not an activated special summon. And then obviously Sharon and Jet, I've showed you guys over the past few weeks what a level 1 and a level 4 can do to make speeder, especially with Jet at 3 now, so that's quite interesting. But yeah, if you don't want to play this engine because it's too expensive, you can still play Destrudo, and Destrudo will have a lot of synergy with Psychic End going second, and you'll just kill your opponent. It's so good. And yeah, then the rest is the Synchron engine: 2 Jet, 3 Junk, 3 Stardust, 1 Trail, 2 Converter. You only need 3 Converter, because Converter is what will set up your whole synchron play, right? Converter plus any tuner, search, junk, make speeder, go for it. You don't need to waste time with doppel or caligo, right? Because yeah, if we added caligo and doppel, it would just make the deck a little too bricky. We already have 41 cards. And then the extra deck is quite changed a little bit because we're not synchro climbing with this deck. So one, when you say we're not synchro climbing, it makes librarian useless because we're not level climbing, we're not synchroing, we're not hyper synchroing. So we're not gonna get advantage of the draw. So I replaced hyper librarian with garden rose. Garden rose just helps so much, especially with crystal. And then obviously junk warrior, we need it as a synchro overtake target. Excel is brilliant in this deck because it facilitates satellite. Obviously I've got Baron here because I've been play testing with Baron. Obviously if people don't have it, you've still got a very good options with satellite warrior, Chenging. You've got Trish in the build. Trish we don't even see playing, but it's so good, man, especially in this build. Any of the traps here plus junk, that should make a level 5. And then if you have Magician Soul on field or Jester, there's your Trish, and you just blow your opponent out. It's so good. Shen in this format is not that great because Kashtira is the best deck, and they don't give a shit if you're banishing stuff from the field. The whole deck is banish based. But there are some decks that die hard to it, like Scarecrow. Scarecrow is still around. Scarecrow will die hard to Shen because they need that grave. Tri-Brigade as well, they need the grave. So with Shen, you kind of, it's really good. And then obviously if people don't have Baron, you still got one additional slot. You can play Herald plus Shen plus Chenging. You can play that trio where it's like you punish people for banishing. If they rely on the graveyard, they're not getting monsters into the graveyard. And then Shen is great on field to return stuff back to your graveyard. Very good. And then obviously Psychic End, like I mentioned, satellite going on your opponent's turn, just nuke their board. And then Omega rip stuff, return stuff to the graveyard. Yazi and the Meme combo still has to stay there because we're in a heavy Nib format. And the way our deck plays past Nib is with Yazi and Meme, right? And then the tokens you generate off of the Meme, you can make Excel level modulate and make it a level 9 plus 1 token. You can make one of the level 10s. You can save it for the next turn, make a satellite, nuke opponent's board. It's really good. And yeah, so that's the deck profile. I'm just gonna show you 1 or 2 videos of this in action, and then if following weeks I'll like do a few test hands, or I'll provide more content off of this. I'm just gonna show you 1 quick replay against Swordsoul and how good this is against Swordsoul. Alright, so obviously this is our hand, and the first thing you do, always activate Magician Souls. You want to try and bait interactions. And it looks like we're going to go unanswered here, which is very good. And then standard line, make speeder, and then you'll target your junk, special summon, get your synchrons out, and I'm just gonna pause you quickly. Here is where your combos will differ. You can choose to do whatever you want. Remember, we're not synchro climbing, right? So whatever you choose, there's no standard line now, because now you can freestyle however you want. You go into whatever big boy you want, because it'll all be determined on the extra. Because remember, I have the Baron here, you guys may not, or you may choose maybe Psychic End, or Trishula is not something you want to go into. You can switch it up, you can play whatever you want, and then it'll change accordingly. So that's the nice thing about this, you'll be able to freestyle whenever you want. So I'm just going to show you what I did. Okay, we'll send Trail to grave, and here's the nice thing, we're not seeing a lot of Bishals in the main, so we don't have to worry about our Trail getting Bishaled. Make Baron, so with here you could have made any level 8 or level 9 in place of Baron, and then keep coming off, but I'm going to use Baron to use my play. And then make the Meme will give me 2 tokens, and I'll make charge to give me an additional draw, and I drew into Sanguine, which is really good. And now Synchro Overtake, I'm going to make a Crystal Wing, I believe. It should be a Crystal Wing, yes, Crystal Wing. And then set 2 pass. It's good. This is good enough. This in this format is good enough for me. Okay, Baron, obviously if you have it or not, but Baron, there's the negate. Crystal Wing, there's the negate. Usually we end on like a 3-board negate, and then we obviously the millions of draws we get of Librarian. So you want to see like at least 2 or 3 hand traps, and then your back row. But this build is, so long as you have one of these in hand, or at least so long as you have Sanguine in hand and at least one of the traps, you should be good to go, because then you can start breaking your opponent's board. And then on top of that, you're protecting it with your synchros, right? So I'm just going to show you what happens. So obviously my opponent drew the Nib late, which is unfortunate. So then I brought out Eldlich. And then they attempted to go Ashuna. I went Omega to Rip. And then they went Longyuan. I went Crystal Wing. And Longyuan's engraved now, so that's very good. So now I know they've got... Once I saw Emergence, they have 2 cards in hand. So this is going to be... I already know this is going to be very, very hard for them to play because I still have the Baron Negate. I still have the Conk, which is still strong for whatever they choose to bring onto the field. Be it a Taya, a Moye, whatever, we can just get rid of it. So yeah. So they go Emergence, they Attire, they go Moye, Moye Effect. I chose to use the Golden Land over the Baron because it doesn't matter if he gets the token here. If the Moye is not in the field, he's not Synchro Summoning, right? And he's got 2 cards in hand. So whatever he chooses to have, I still have a Baron ready for him. And then, there you go. And that's that. But yeah, I'm not gonna go on too long. I just wanted to give a quick intro onto this to show you what is possible, because Eldlich Synchron is something that not a lot of people are playing on, but it is very strong. In the right hands, it can do well. You just need to play test it. You need to understand the meta, the current format, what is being played, what is not being played, what synchros are beneficial to your extra deck, what is not. For example, like I said, Shen might be something you might want to remove because, again, the best deck is a Kashtira deck and they do a lot of banishing, so they're not going to worry too much about it. But again, I mean, against things like Scarecrow, it dies hard. Shen will just destroy Scarecrow. So yeah, pick your extra deck really well. Eldlich and Synchron work very well together. Like you can balance between the two, you can swap out between the two, you can bait hand traps, you can confuse your opponent. Because firstly, Eldlich, when people see Eldlich, they think back row decks, they think back row hate. Harpy's Feather Duster, Twin Twisters, they're gonna sign all that nonsense. Then you go into a Synchron engine, and firstly, no one expects Synchron in today's current meta and times, so they don't know how to interact with the deck firstly unless they've seen it before. And then Eldlich and Synchron together is going to confuse them even more. And on top of that, you've got more interactions to work with. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. If you liked it, please like, comment, subscribe. If you want to drop any comments, I know you guys love dropping comments, telling me how shit some of my builds are, how amazing some of my builds are, or if any suggestions, anything you want to recommend for the channel, drop in the comments. Go to the Discord in the link in the description. Start talking with people, dude, because the community is on now. Discord is really, it's small, but it's really friendly. Guys will help you out. You can feel free to help any of the other guys out. Speak to me directly, and yeah, if you have something you're really interested in sharing, hell, be it a Blackwing deck, if you have something to share and you really want to see it on the channel, share it with me, show me how it works. If I think it's interesting, I will feature you on the channel and obviously shout you out. And yeah, that's all. Again, that's all from me today. I'll see you guys next week with maybe some more replays on Eldlich Synchron to give you more insight if you want to play it or not. But in my opinion, with Kashtira Synchron being, I think, the best alternative at this point, if you can't afford Kashtira Synchron, definitely look into Eldlich Synchron. That's all from me today, guys. Peace.